Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Sorry to bother you, and have a great Easter.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And I'm trying to come up to pros of 10, so and you supposed tomorrow, right? Okay. Oh, I'm good. I really need to talk to him because I'm sorry, and I'm trying to be nice. Jared, Texas, I've had nothing. I'm sorry. Relax. I'm trying to get a hold of him. So there's a situation between town of Vernon, town of we've been here since 2016. So I know this stuff to do with you guys. Had my truck registered 2020, you know, it was here. Vernon's trying to charge me the same time as Mansfield's. Now my wife got pulled over this morning because their registration is expired, which we didn't know. We were gonna get let say that we owe taxes. So now my wife can't get to work because we don't get it. So I called him at 4 o'clock. I'll call her back. Nothing. He already almost 7 o'clock. And he's done this before. I'm not playing games with my livelihood. So I love this town. Not that guy.
So,
Right.
So we talk here, which also.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I appreciate you listening to me. I want to talk to Mary. I've had enough. This happens almost every other year because I keep on doing this. Vernon does it all the time. I don't know what's going on. And apparently I'm not the only one in this town that's happened to. My neighbor that moved in like a month after me is dealing with the same thing. The vehicle that they didn't even register there. I'm paying taxes here, but yet I haven't taxed over there. And I've been here 6 years. I've already registered the car twice. So
It sounds like it's like a code.
Right.
Yeah. You can do something.
Right.
That's stuff.
And we paid all the taxes, but now we can't register the car. And I know DMV is not here, not open tomorrow now. So. Yep. Well, if you think about it, right. Okay. Okay. My wife can't go to work now. I'm not gonna have her drive around a rich vehicle to Bloomfield. So, all right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for hearing my little rant. You know. All right. You guys have a great weekend. Thank you very much.
Hey, John.
Oh no, just popped. I did that at the brewery once. Open them and I had my phone was floating in my cup holder in my center console. Other seats. They were good, yeah, they
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, well, my friend Larry wanted to, you should come on. Yes.
Magic.
My friend Larry wanted to know what the trail was like, because he's ridden out to the, from Willimantic to the Pomfret Town Hall.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, well, we'll ride that and see what it's like. Oops. Wasn't that great?
I'm gonna close this window.
Yeah, I've been closing the windows in my house when I left. It will get cool quickly.
I got out on a lake today for the first time this year.
Oh, yeah, which lake?
Coventry
Oh.
on my paddleboard.
Oh, yeah,
Well, we do a lot of, I love these trails.
yeah,
I've been on them a couple of times since I've been back.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
it's so safe.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, Paul Brody rides with us sometimes, but he only rides when we're riding the trails. We do some road rides too, and he says, no, I'm done with the road riding.
I do, I'll still do a little of it, but I can't take another hit.
Yeah, I understand. Well, I've just bought this radar, this Garmin radar thing that you put on your back, on the back of your bike,
Uh-huh.
and it shows you what's behind you
It's interesting.
in how fast it's approaching and how many there are. Yeah, it's supposed to be pretty cool. I have the Aaron and the store center people are putting it on Saturday. I ordered it and they're going to install it. And I'm not going to use the Garmin. You can use your little Garmin computer too, but I downloaded an app from Garmin on my smartphone and it seems to look like it'll work just fine. So
Well, it's a rear camera.
no, it's not a camera. It's a radar thing. So
Oh, I see.
it gives
Oh,
you,
It isn't a
like-
picture,
it's blips. It's blips, yeah. And as the blips get closer, they go higher on the screen. I don't know, because I haven't actually seen it. I've seen the website, demo of it. And I thought, well, if I'm riding on the road, so I have mirrors,
Yeah,
but what happens to me now, because I'm older, when I look over here, whatever's happening in front of me ceases to exist. I can't, when I was younger, I think I could kind of flip back and forth.
transition. Yeah.
Happens driving too. Like I'll be adjusting the mirror and then all of a sudden, something happens in front of me. And I don't remember that when I was younger.
How old are you now, Ralph?
75.
Yeah, my wife is 75. Larry Ross turns 75 in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. How about you?
I'll be 78 in July.
Okay. Well, you got us all.
But what you're describing hasn't happened. I have a lot of other things, but that isn't,
Right.
that isn't one. Oh, yeah.
Well, Dave is 78 and he leaves me in the dust. He just
How you doing, Mike?
Good. How are
just-
you? Good.
just pedals away from me always. you know, I take my time on the hills, and when I get to the top, I pedal
Coast.
softly for a while, and then off we go again. But
I get two of these or a
hi,
pack?
Derek.
It's a whole packet. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
Thanks for coming.
Anytime. You also got John on here as well.
Yeah, John's on, and somebody else was gonna come on.
How's it going? Hello. I'm Philip. Hi, Philip. I'm Derek.
Oh,
Nice to see
Philip,
you.
hi, I'm
How's it
Lon.
going?
As you will remember,
Yes.
Philip's gonna give us a quick WRTD
Excellent.
update at the beginning of the meeting.
Wonderful.
Christy Nowak said she's on a plane going somewhere. She's not gonna come.
Hopefully somewhere nice.
And then Lauren said that she would probably be calling in using the
Okay, great.
video meet.
Laurel is called in. I might be the one that's on the phone.
Okay, well, can you hear
I'm
us?
here.
You.
Yep, I can hear you just fine. I was interested in learning about the Garmin radar. I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah, I think it's called a Varia, VARI,
Okay.
or something like that. If you just Google bicycle radar, that's the only thing that'll come up.
That's cool. That's cool.
Well,
And Alex Barnier's here remotely as well. Good evening, everyone. No longer afternoon.
let's see.
Out of town today, calling from a hotel room. So worked out that we have the Zoom meeting.
Yeah, I appreciate it as well. This is Sam Bruder. I think that John agreed to it only because his Yankees took 2 from the Red Sox at the beginning of the season, but I'm not going to talk about that very much.
They're not doing too well against the Blue Jays. So
Blue Jays are monsters, huh?
they
Oh,
are.
Jacob told me Vlad Guerrero hit a home run 430 feet with one hand yesterday.
His hand got stepped on at first base. It was like bleeding and skin hanging off it. He stayed in the game.
Guerrero, does that mean he's like 50 years old by now, or is that,
No, that's
No, it's
his
his junior.
junior.
oh, his kid's playing?
Yeah.
Oh, crazy. Wow.
It's so good.
One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, good. That's it. I think we might as well get started. 7:04. Introductions. Philip, WRTD, and Yukon, right? You worked.
So WRTD Yukon shared planner.
Right. Mike Taylor, Derek Delay from the staff, Lon Holgren, the chair. Alex from the membership, John from the DPW, Sam, what's your affiliation?
Town Council.
Oh, great to have you.
Thanks for allowing this to happen hybrid. I appreciate it a lot.
And Lauren,
Laurel.
Laurel, excuse me, got it wrong. All right. We didn't have a quorum at the last meeting, so technically we have 2 sets of minutes to approve. We've got the minutes of February 8th, 2022, and who's the other one? October 28th, 2021. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve them.
They seem good to me.
Okay, Alex, you'll move.
Motion to approve them.
And second, Mike. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Passed unanimously. Okay. All right. Philip, thank you for coming. And first item on the agenda is a update on WRTD and what's going on there. So
Yeah, absolutely. I'll start with our our proposed, well, at this point, they're at the point of getting approved by our board and then going to CONDOT. I don't know, what's the most appropriate way for me to share
All right, just
this?
like that.
Like
We'll
this,
catch
that
it
way
in
they
the,
can
in
catch
the
it?
camera
Is
here.
that too far away, or I don't know?
Let's get it in
Maybe.
closer.
It's really far away anyway, is it?
Maybe
You guys
right
have a
here.
magnifying glass? Let's see, so existing conditions, we have the stores bus coming up. It's the A and the C. We have coming up from Willimantic up to stores. And it goes in between the A and the C throughout the day. It's called interlining, where it's basically switches routes. It's also doing the express bus. That one's called the B. And the average frequency is about an hour and 40 minutes in between the two towns, in between Willimantic and stores on that transit line. That's an existing condition. Another existing condition is city bus down in Willimantic. We got it coming about every hour, about every 2 hours, I'd say is the average. Some is 2 hours and 40 minutes. In other areas, an hour and 40, so about every average 2 hours. Those are the two routes that I think are the most relevant to the committee here. They were proposing some pretty major shifts to in favor of frequency. So we're looking at city bus down in Willimantic, changing it to every 70 minutes. And that would mean that instead of coming every 2 hours, it's going to come every 70 minutes to every location. And this is cost neutral. So how do we do that? We trim some of the periphery, or just trim some of the fat off of the route, so to speak, where we have a lot of what they call deadhead in the hospital. We're just driving in circles, basically. We go into Wyndham Heights, this apartment complex, drive around for 10 minutes over, over speed bumps all over the place, going into a lot of shopping centers, which is convenient, but it's a bit tough of a sacrifice when you're going into so many that you can only make a bus come by every 2 hours, because really hourly is where you want to be, bare minimum, ideally half an hour, 15 minutes, hourly bare minimum. So that's the major changes that we're looking at on city bus, which is exciting. Here's an example of what the schedule might look like if anybody's curious. Fall. I don't want to take up too much of everybody's time. So try to keep this succinct here. This is what city bus will likely look like with the 70-minute frequency. The final number is probably going to be 12 runs. We're submitting a request to CONDOT for some extra funding. Given our new partnership with Yukon, we're bringing some cushion into the budget for CT dot. They also pulled a little trick on WRTD where they're channeling the funds directly to CONDOT instead of the WRTD first. So, and we were, it was a bit of a last minute surprise. So we think we're in a position to ask them for those funds. So hopefully we'll get the approval for it. And very similar coverage to all the areas we're already covering. Most of the stops that moved are within about a 5 to 10 minute walking distance. Anybody that is inconvenienced, we want to always remind everybody about paratransit. And we have, if you are unable to walk to the stop, then you qualify for ADA. If you go through the screening process, then they'll pick you up from your door. And then there's always dial-a-ride if you live more than 3/4 of a mile away from this corridor, then you qualify for dial-a-ride, which anybody can take. It's open to the public. And it does have limited operating hours, but anybody can take it. So that's the major shift proposed to City Bus. And I'll cover stores here next. Sorry for the little dust on there. So we're planning on leveraging the new partnership with the university, the hunting lodge route. Right now, we're doing Four Corners Holiday Mall in stores. We're going up there right now in stores. On every third run is about the average. And with a new partnership with Yukon, we're going to tap into the hunting lodge partnership and do a little alignment change on hunting lodge so that we do Four Corners Holiday Mall with that route. That will free up a lot of operating time for the stores route and allow us to have the 70-minute frequency in between the two towns instead of every hour and 40 minutes. That's another major change. Hunting lodge, if this gets approved by the board and approved by CONDOT, then we'll also have hunting lodge run all year long instead of just in the school year. So, excuse me. We'll have a budget for about 80 additional days. So it might be a little bit short around the holidays. That's exciting, really exciting though, because it really changes. This shifts hunting lodge into a year-round route instead of what it is now. It's just really university, or like it's kind of like a lifeline service. They call it in transit. It's just very minimal providing for students. This turns it into something viable for everybody. And our route will go by the scene. WRTD is going to operate its own alignment. It's going to go by the senior center. So the senior center will have new service about every 45 minutes to an hour. We're looking at for hunting lodge. So those are a lot of exciting new things. And eventually, if this is kind of like a beta test, WRTD will have its own version of hunting lodge in the summer. And if it's used well, and if we get good feedback, then eventually we'll probably shift the existing hunting lodge route to look like this. And Mansfield will have its own little circulator bus to get people up to get people from Four Corners Holiday Mall. And there's the CVS up here. You know, there's like what else is up here? There's some apartment complexes. There's a dispensary out there. It'll get people. It's a nice little town circulator that it could turn into here, which is great for everybody. Just keeping in mind that people have to make the transfer at the Nash Zimmer to get down to Willimantic, because right now they don't need to, but that's the trade. There's always trade-offs with coverage and with coverage versus frequency. It's always tough decisions, have to get made to trade off the best, most benefit to the most amount of people. This was all modeled. This went through lots of feedback. We had about six public meetings where this was presented, and it was definitely a great project to be a part of, to watch the seeds get planted and then blossom over the last year and a half here. Other major news with active transportation. Let's see. So everybody probably knows that the active transportation plan is in the growing stages of development at Yukon. That's I don't know too much about it, although I may play a small role in that project, and I have some experience from past professional tenures in active transportation. So hopefully, if I am a part of that, I can bring something to the group. Our parking map is, if everybody hasn't seen that, I encourage you guys to go to the Yukon parking website. That map was completed some time ago. I don't recall if I've shared that with, I don't think I've shared that with the group here. It's park.yukon.edu if you're able to share the screen. And it's about halfway down. There it is. I guess all the way down. I'll keep going. So this is a interactive map. And if you use this on mobile, it's location enabled. So you can see where you are. And then my favorite feature is it has a search box. So on the top left, if you want to know where a parking lot is or a building, it shows you where it is. You could do lot K or, oh, there you go. Dash summer. Let's truth test it here. Try, I guess, university features, lot, like a parking lot or a building. And there it is. This was a work in progress for some time, and then it was published some months ago. The university has their own, and this is parking and this is parking's internal version for the campus. It's got bus stops, we got bike racks on there, we got EV charging stations are in there. We have all the buildings, and we don't have the transportation center, so I think we'll have to have the transportation center. And let me think, any questions on this? Or any questions on the routes too?
I think it says Nash Center, so maybe that. On the map I see it says Nash Center. Will that come up?
Oh, that's a good comment. So we use the OpenStreetMaps, which is a really neat open source layer as the base map. So you might see some things that aren't necessarily integrated into the map. Then we have our own layers overlaid and integrated into the map. So that's what you see. That's what you see there. And let's see what else I think that's relevant. The Yukon merger is happening by July 1st. Yukon transportation operations are coming into the Yukon fixed route operations are coming under the wing of WRTD. So
on July 1st?
That's what we hope. We'll see with staffing what happens. And yeah, we're hoping that that's the actual date.
So are all those people driving those buses going to be your employees, or are they going to be Yukon employees that you tell what to do?
The most likely thing that'll play out is they'll be our employees, because the first transit contract is ending. With Yukon has their own contract with First Contract. It's first transit contract and that's expiring. So they'll likely be employees.
Interesting.
Of the WRTD.
How big is your HR department?
We don't have one. So luckily we're getting a recruiter. There's still some unknowns, so it's unfortunate with the unknowns, because we might lose some people that may be working for First right now at the university. But hopefully, we'll have a lot of answers here. It's crunch time.
Yeah, really.
The fire's under our feet in the next couple of months. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. It's great to have it consolidated.
Oh, another the signs. We have a sign RFP going out too. So if anybody's seen the temporary signs in Willimantic for the bus stops, those went up a few weeks ago, and we have a sign RFP that's in the pipeline, and we should have a nice budget if Condot approves it for bus stop signs. So any you see missing, which are mostly on Condot right of way, will magically appear hopefully in the next by the end of the year. And any questions?
Do you have any type of a wash facility? I've been trying to look at doing some kind of regional wash facility.
We actually don't. You're talking about for bus wash?
Yes.
We don't have one at the facility. We don't have one, so we were planning on bringing, I don't know too many of the details, but from what I know, the rumor is we might bring contractors there with their own equipment.
Okay.
Yeah, what's this about the regional facility?
It's just a thought right now, but between the town vehicles, the buses, all that, if we could put something, somewhere on a water sewer line, so either in southern Mansfield or up in the Four Corners area where we could all wash our vehicles and keep it environmentally, friendly. That will, now that we have to, file MS4, we got to be a little, we do the right things, but it'd be a lot easier with a better facility. And if we get regional, everybody to chip in, it obviously keeps the cost down for everybody.
Curious what's happening to the Yukon facility, because like the current motor pool can maintain buses and wash buses, and it seems like a shame that infrastructure is there, but now it's going to be underutilized maybe, or I don't know if there's any opportunities for an arrangement there.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. Logistically, it'll be challenging to continue to use that since we want to house the vehicles down there. And then snow comes into play too. And then there's also the question of cold storage. We have cold storage at Yukon right now. And there's a possibility longer term that because we might have electric vehicles, that they might refrigerate or heat our facility up there, which would make it more friendly to washing the vehicles. Yeah, I feel the same way though. I want to keep using the facility there. It's tough though with housing the vehicles off site.
Interesting. All right, well, thank you so much, Philip. That's a lot of stuff here.
Yeah, sorry for the.
No, it's good. Thank you for informing us.
Definitely.
So, and you're welcome to leave at any time. We're going to continue with our agenda. The next thing under older business is the bicycle pedestrian master plan. For those of you who haven't been around for a while, this is something that was drafted by myself and with some help from engineering and public works back in 2017. But it hasn't gotten any further than that. So when I met with the town manager about this in the middle of last year, I agreed to update it and then give it to the staff to help fill in the blanks, which I did and they are doing. So we have a new draft that I'm happy to share electronically with people. I don't have copy facilities to send. Plus it's rough. I have marked it up with where pictures could go and so on and so forth. But anyway, if anybody wants to see the draft, let myself or Derek know, and we can get you what we have at the moment. And of course, I would be happy to have input from anyone with regards to that. So I'll shoot that now to Derek and give us an update on where we are. We've met with Derek and Jennifer from the Parks people, and she's been helping to reformat some things. And there are some charts that Derek is working on and illustrations. So we were hoping to have something a little more complete by the end of this month. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Derek?
Yep, so we met beginning of this month, and Jennifer and I started to attack it a little bit and develop some mapping in lieu of some of the tables that currently exist in the document, trying to be a little more pictographic, so a little easier to consume. And providing some updates with regards to upcoming projects, because some of the projects that were priorities have been completed, which is great news. But then there's also new projects that have been slowly coming to the surface, and as new requests or new priorities are developed, making sure it's funneled through the same process each time as those projects come forward. So that's kind of where we're at, is we've developed some mapping. We're updating the formatting and also updating any of the necessary data that Lon needs.
Right, thank you. One of the things that the Transportation Advisory Committee might be able to help with is we have talked a little bit about Vision Zero, which you can look up on Google. They have their own website. And we're thinking that perhaps the plan should say something about Vision Zero, and we don't have wording yet to do that. But I presume that the next iteration of the draft will have something about that as at least as a goal. So again, if you want to email me for an electronic copy of what we have so far, my email is nlr981@gmail.com, or you could email Derek
At DPW@Mansfield.
Derek, or just DPW@MansfieldCT.
Hit us all and we can get it.
And Derek will get it at.
What's that again, Derek?
DPW.
DERI.
Should I,
No, we're just doing DPW, Department of
Oh.
Public Works @MansfieldCT.org. And this way it just hits a lot of different, it's easier to
Yeah,
remember than trying to understand my last name.
right.
Derek, do you think you could just send it to the whole committee? Because I think that, I mean, I want it. I don't know if, it seems like everyone else might just want it as well.
I would like to read it, yeah.
I can send it.
Okay, we'll do that. And again, comments, questions, go to Derek. Derek could share them with me. That's fine. And we're hoping to get this adopted or very close to adopted by September 1st, because that's the deadline for the town's application for renewal of the bicycle-friendly community designation from the League of American Bicyclists. And so we told them when we got our original designation as a bronze bicycle-friendly community, we told them we had a draft, and we showed them the draft. So we got to at least show them a revised draft rather than tell them that we sent the same old draft. So hopefully we'll have something close to being adopted that we can share with our application.
Do you think, just with respect to the Vision Zero point you brought up, Lon, we would need some sort of direction, and this might relate to our charge as the committee, but something in there or from the council officially, because like there's obviously a lot of weight behind setting a goal like Vision Zero. So I don't know if that's something we can declare without others. I don't know.
Well, we can put it in the plan, because the plan will have to get approved by planning and zoning and the council.
Okay.
If they don't like what is in the plan, they can so state.
Gotcha.
And I can tell you, just I appreciate the fact that you mentioned Vision Zero. I'm just looking at it briefly. There's a lot of interest and support from the town council members in terms of making sure what happened with the Yukon student doesn't happen again. And it sounds like Vision Zero is a good independent standard that our town can sign on to and point to and say, we're not just giving this lip service. We actually have an outside group that has given us some standards that other communities are following. And I think it's a great place to be looking to go towards.
Great.
So if there's anything you need from me in terms of bending anyone's ear on that level or anything like that, I'm sorry I haven't been as involved as I should have with the meetings. I'm not great with emails, but I'm trying to be better with that, so that way I know how to, when I'm supposed to be here. As you probably all saw, I thought the meeting was at 4 and I'd missed it, so I apologize for that, but I'm glad that I did not. So I definitely keep up with what's happened in the meetings, and I think that all the work that everybody's been doing is exactly in line with the charge and what the town council would be supporting as of right now. So thank you all.
Thank you for being here. All right, next on our agenda is the town is working on renewing its Sustainability Connecticut designation. And there was a meeting a while back with the various committees, and they sent a list of some of the projects and some of the categories, I guess you'd say, that the committees might be able to participate in. And I have the list here. And some of the things that I noted in the list were in terms of transportation, we're implementing complete streets. I know the town has a complete streets policy that'll be appended to the bike pedestrian plan. There's also a new wrinkle to complete streets and bicycle friendliness in terms of equity. Equity meaning users that aren't perhaps as mobile or aren't perhaps as comfortable as others in both complete streets and having to do with bicycling. So that is a little bit of a challenge, but certainly any ideas that people have about how we might more closely or implement complete streets perhaps more aggressively. That's the only thing I could think of. And also equitably to all the populations that the town includes. Also in the transportation list of things, which is section 5 of this, is promoting effective parking management, promoting public transit and other mobility strategies, and supporting zero emissions vehicles, I guess EVs and things like that. So John and Derek, are you guys working on some of these things in terms of what the town will be submitting in terms of updating what we have done in the last 3 to 5 years or whatever it is?
Yes, we've been working on, the town hired an intern who actually worked for Sustainable CT, I believe last summer. So he's very knowledgeable in all the areas, and he's, met with me, and we've gone over the complete streets policy. It's been a couple months now, and other areas, and the parking management and that he probably met with Cynthia, but he's been on top of that. So I think we're submitting a draft to get a sense of where we're at with Sustainable CT, and they'll tell us where we should make changes for the final submission. But I don't believe we need anything out of the Transportation Advisory Committee at this time, but if somebody feels they want to give any input, it's always welcome.
Okay. All right, then we did go back and forth a little bit on the charge revision and came up with a revised charge and sent that to John. And John, maybe you could just tell me where we are in that process.
I think if you could tonight, vote on it. I know everybody by email pretty much said it was good to go, but if you say it's good to go tonight, it'll go before the Committee on Committees, which Councilor Bruder is a member of that. I'm not sure if you're the chair or no, just.
No, Terry Berthelot's taking that over graciously. We just met an hour before this one, so our next meeting won't be for another month. So if anyone had any changes or anything like that, there would be time, I think, to make any updates. I wouldn't have anything that I'd be suggesting to change, but yeah.
So they'll approve it at the May meeting if you guys approve it tonight to go forward.
Well,
Which
the
I'm
last
sure you will.
I have was dated February 28th, 2022. And that was the third revision. We revised it on the 10th, the 21st, and then the 28th. I did think I sent it out to the committee members, but
I believe you did. Lon.
okay, all right. So does anybody have any questions, or are we ready to approve the charge that we came up with, revise on the 28th of February?
You could probably do it by consensus even.
Yeah. Well, are there any objections? I mean, this is a fluid document. If we need to change something, I'm sure the Committee on Committee would be happy to do it. I don't see this as brain surgery. It's just something that is updating things so people have a good idea of where we stand or what we're supposed to do. Okay, then we'll consider that okayed.
Thank you for doing that. The Committee on Committees is trying to get each committee to take a look at their charge and provide any updates. Some haven't been updated for decades, so thank you.
Yeah, I think we were one of those. This is the first time we've tweaked it for a long time. Okay, next on the agenda, DPW staff, anything new in terms of what we should know about ongoing transportation projects? I know you've given us this the last meeting, but maybe just the things that have changed.
Go ahead, Derek.
Oh, I was gonna say, go ahead, John. So right now we have a plan currently to resurface Browns Road, Fern Road, and Spring Hill Road at the minimum between Mansfield City to Clover Mill Road, which is to the middle school. Then if time allows, well, this is what the current plan is, and then from Clover Mill up to Stores Road. And we're hoping that will interface with the lot zip grant that was currently applied for. And we want to see if we can configure some sort of change to the intersection at Spring Hill Road and Maple Road to try to slow that intersection and make people actually stop there. We've tightened up the radii at the intersection with Spring Hill, and that's made some changes, at least has slowed down those people making the turn onto Spring Hill Road off of Clover Mill. So we'll investigate those alternatives at that intersection. I think the last time we still have not heard definitively concerning the second lot zip grant, which would continue the complete street from Max Felix Road to the intersection of interest, all the way, so to basically extend the walkway all the way to the middle school. We have not heard about that yet. We're hoping to hear something in the not too distant future. I think it was announced that the town did receive and was selected for the community challenge grant, which would make some pedestrian improvements and some boulevard style improvements currently contemplated for South Eagleville Road, to try to see if we can include some pedestrian bump outs. Right now the RFPs are within that scope, so that was just funded. So still anticipating when that will actually be, move forward, and that'll involve the.
That's great. In my notes, I wrote down here, having not talked to you, what about a boulevard on South Eagleville Road?
You inspired us.
That's great. Wow, but I didn't talk to you because
Cosmic.
Exactly.
the boulevards out here are really helpful to get across the street
Yes.
because you have a safe landing in the middle.
It was interesting. I had a conversation with somebody that just happened to stop me in the hallway today and said, what can we do more? Because I've almost gotten hit 3 times this last year. She goes, it's been worse this year than ever.
Right.
Vision Zero is great, but there's a lot of different pieces between enforcement, education. There's a lot more to it than just the engineering. The engineering is a piece of, I think it's 8 different tenants. There's other parts that we still have to do and we could do better. So, yeah, we were very excited about that piece. And then we also have the downtown loop. We finally, after almost 1.5 years, has a signed agreement with the feds to complete the downtown loop, which would basically continue a walkway from Maple Road to Separatist. And then also the last leg between North Eagleville and Separatist Road on Hunting Lodge Road. The road that's currently closed because we have that failing culvert. And then we also just today submitted a follow-up follow-up grant application from Four Corners. So at the intersection of Route 44 and 195, right at CVS, to continue that pathway up to Towers Loop. So basically up to the water tanks at Yukon.
That's good.
Yeah, so with that application just went in today for a subsequent round of funding. And
Yeah,
John, if I missed
great.
something, please, by all means, I'm sure there's more.
I think you hit it all that I can think of. It. We also are doing the intersection at 189 and
Yeah,
from 89 and 195 for the new school, and that's currently being worked on. That's just widening the intersection a little, based on the anticipation of more traffic.
So the only thing that, would make a perfect world would be a roundabout instead of a signal at South Eagleville and Separatist.
And
Because
we do have a road safety audit coming up at the end of the month to look at that area. So we'll put that in their ear again.
feed right into the road, to the roundabout.
Yeah.
And that would be wonderful.
yeah,
I understand the signal is maybe even in design, but might not be too late.
well, nothing moves fast with the DOT. So.
Right.
But yeah, that was another thing. I think we should be expecting some results from a roundabout screening study that Krog was working on. So we submitted almost every major state intersection, and they'll basically evaluate it for what types of right of way would be required and seeing what could fit in those locations. And
Yeah.
so that's exciting. We should see those study results probably in the next 6 months or so.
Willimantic really needs one. I know this isn't Willimantic, but by the McDonald's going into town on Main Street. Oh my gosh, that's they have so much right of way,
Mhm.
and there's like
Yeah.
3 or 4 signals packed right next to each other.
Right.
Yes.
right.
So many one there.
So when the downtown partnership project was, I think we made sure that there was enough right of way at this corner up here, 275 and 195.
Mhm.
It's still going to be a tough fit because of the hill,
Right.
but I think as I remember, we were trying to get the right of way. I lost count since then, but that was certainly something we didn't think we could get a roundabout at that time. But we wanted to make sure the right of way was there.
Eventually you could.
So.
Right.
All right, that's great. Thank you for that update. All right, moving on to active transportation. As Philip mentioned, the Yukon consultant that's doing the active transportation study is working along, and there's a second public input meeting on April 27th at 3 p.m. It's virtual. And I guess what we should do, I have a communication from Yukon that lays that all out and gives you a WebEx feed into that meeting. So, yeah, thank you, Philip. So I'll go ahead and send that to everyone on the committee. And if you want to participate in that, they're looking mostly for input from people that, bicycle, walk, and so on the campus. But it certainly wouldn't hurt. I went to one of their first meetings or virtual meetings, and so it's interesting stuff. So I'll make a note to send everyone that email I'll forward that email The original email is from Eileen McHugh of the construction office. Then I just noted that the bicycle-friendly community renewal is due at the end of the summer. We'll be working on that. I'll need information from engineering for things that have changed. But their portal, it's an electronic application, and their portal won't be open until May. So there's not much we can do right now until we see the new application portal. And then we'll have to work hard on getting our application in. So just for your information, we can't do much until May. And then Yukon has a bicycle-friendly university working group. One of Bike Mansfield's members is heading that up, Corey Clark. And there is also a Spring Fling Earth Day celebration. It's not on Earth Day, it's on April 20th on Fairfield Way with 30 tables. Again, mostly set up for students and student activities. But Bike Mansfield will have a table there. I'll be sitting there from 11 to 2. And if anybody is interested in stopping by to see some of the things that are going on with regards to the Yukon Earth activities, then April 20th from 11 to 2 on Fairfield Way would be a good thing. Good thing to do. Okay, any other business? All right, we're good then. Any reports of members? All right, next meeting should be the second Thursday of the next quarter, which would be July something or other. I don't know the exact date. But subject to revision, of course, because July is a tough, right around the 4th of July, people tend to be gone. So we sometimes send out a quiz sheet as to whether people can actually make a meeting on the second Thursday in July.
July 14th.
Okay, thank you.
John, I was looking at Fridays. I was like, July 8th. What are you talking about? I'm glad that somebody else is in charge of this.
All right, no other business. Thank you all for attending. And
Thank you.
50 will go home.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Have a good night.